take us through that investment and also explain why India and why now.
We have multiple businesses that are thriving and doing well. We estimate that we are going to invest an additional $35 billion. We are aiming to enable $80 billion in exports, cumulative exports by 2030.
You came here first as a software company.
Yeah, as a software company. It's fortunate to be part of that.
For the 10-minute generation today, it's important to know that you introduced 24-hour delivery.
We have always been focused on speed.
Without charging them anything more.
Yeah, I mean, they get free, fast, unlimited delivery.
How would you describe the Indian consumer of 2026? Hello and welcome to another episode of Business Today Pods. This is a podcast where we keep trying and getting guests who are unique and have a perspective not just on their own company, but India, its growth story, its economy, and the wider world of business. And today it gives me great pleasure to introduce a guest who is known to many of us. Amit Agarwal, the Senior Vice President for Emerging Markets at digital commerce giant Amazon. Amit, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for your time. This conversation is happening, and I didn't know, but I must tell our viewers that this is happening right hours after you have announced as a company a mega investment in India. So take us through that investment and also explain why India and why now.
Cool. First of all, thank you for having me here. I've heard great things about how you engage in these thoughtful conversations, and just to be a part of one of them is a matter of great honor for me. So let me give you a little bit of perspective on what led to this investment as we think about it. So if we go back, to when Amazon started, we started here in 2003, and that was our first development center, which is essentially software development and product talent out here, building capabilities for our global business. In 2013, we launched Amazon.in, which is our e-commerce business in India. We have also launched AWS, which is our cloud business in India. We have Prime Video, MX Player, which is our entertainment business in India. We have Amazon devices, the Fire Stick, Alexa, Echo, which is a devices business in India. So we do have many different businesses that are all thriving and scaling well in the country. And so when we started Sambhav back in 2020 and Jeff was here, Jeff boldly declared how the 21st century is likely to be India's century. And we made 3 pledges at that point in time. We said that we pledged to digitize 10 million SMBs, enable $20 billion in exports, and support 2 million jobs. So what we announced today was that we have delivered on those pledges ahead of time. And we also dimensionalized a little bit the investment that we have made between 2010 and 2024, that we invested $40 billion during that time frame, making Amazon the largest foreign investor in India, the largest enabler of exports in India, and one of the largest creator of jobs in the country. Now, as we look forward the next 5 years, and as I said, we have multiple businesses that are thriving and doing well, we estimate that we are going to invest an additional $35 billion until 2030, and which would allow us to take a bigger pledge across those 3 dimensions that I talk about. And essentially what we estimate is that based on the momentum that we are seeing in exports, we are aiming to enable $80 billion in exports, cumulative exports by 2030. We believe that we have the ability to support 3.8 million jobs by 2030, which is an incremental 1 million jobs. And on the digitization front, we are leaning into AI, which is probably the biggest disruption of our lifetime. And we want to empower 4 million government school kids with AI literacy and training. So all in all, we are very proud that Amazon is the largest foreign investor in the country and the largest enabler of exports and jobs. We've already invested $40 billion. We are promising to invest an additional $35 billion. And what we are seeing is our business and our priorities are perfectly aligned with this whole vision of Aatmanirbhar and a Viksit Bharat, which is the theme of the Sambhav conference today.
I want to tell our viewers that you joined this company in 1999. And clearly you've grown with the company as it has grown. But the more important point, it seems to me, that we should hear from you is how have you seen India's economic story evolve? So from 1999 to now, we've gone through basically three waves. And there was a time that nobody knew that the consumer side of the internet would take off. My first experience on the internet in India was a dial-up modem. I'm sure it was the same for you. From that perspective, vantage point, explain to our viewers, how have you seen the Indian growth story evolve?
It's, first of all, I feel very fortunate that I've been with Amazon for nearly 27 years now. It's, not just the India digital story, but it kind of overlaps with the internet evolution, if you really think about it. I had the chance to be part of the team that came here in 2003 to start our first development center. So a lot of the focus then.
So you came here first as a software company.
Yeah, as a software company. So that's kind of your first evolution, if you will, for India, which was a great place for talent, a great place to have fantastic software engineers building for global consumers. I came back again in 2013 when we launched Amazon.in. And at that point in time, really the services out here were primarily just trying to discount products to sell products online. And Amazon came in with this whole promise of trust, reliability, and speed. And we were actually the ones who introduced next day delivery that really took off, and e-commerce took off. So I'm fortunate to be part of that.
For the 10-minute generation today, it's important to know that you introduced 24-hour delivery.
We have always been focused on speed. We always said that, the three things that drive us every single day for the last 25 plus years is we want to deliver the largest selection to customers at great value and the fastest speed. And to that end, we are probably the only unique place in the online in India where customers can get 10,000 items in 10 minutes, 100,000 items in hours, 1 million items same day and next day. And all this for Prime members free delivery is probably the best deal on earth. So the evolution of, from being a great place for talent and continuing to be that, and then riding the whole evolution of e-commerce, and then the rate of change in India is the pace of innovation is what really makes India distinctive. And it continues to rise. And today, I don't feel very surprised that we find ourselves customers loving convenience, because India is no different than any place on earth where customers love large selection at great value and fast speed. I think the thing that is distinct about India is at the rate at which it's innovating to move in that direction, and I find it very fortunate to be part of that as a catalyst and to be growing with that trend as a company and me personally.
Amit, how do you rate your success with quick commerce? In some ways, you were late to come on the bandwagon. Where do you rate the quick commerce part of your India business at this point of time?
Yeah, so to give your audience a little bit of context, right, as I said, it has always been a centerpiece of our service that we care about speed, and we have been delivering millions of items same day and next day, and tens of thousands, 100,000 items in hours to customers. So customers have always associated Amazon with speed. And we have also received feedback from our Prime members that they would love for Amazon to provide them, 10,000 everyday essentials at 10-minute deliveries. Clearly, they are seeing that experience elsewhere, and they want Amazon to provide that. So, listening to our customers, which is what we do, we launched our service earlier this year. I am super excited by the momentum that we have. So, we launched our first micro fulfillment center somewhere in the quarter one of this year. And In a short period of time, we have grown to more than 300 micro fulfillment centers in 3 cities. So you've scaled
So
in
in roughly
Bengaluru.
330 days.
Yeah, so it's nearly one every day, and even more when we look at the trajectory in the last 30 days, we are at a run rate of launching 2 micro fulfillment centers every day. So we are expanding and we are increasing the rate of our expansion. We are in 3 cities right now: Bengaluru, Mumbai, and NCR. And the way we look at our service, I can give you a little bit of context because you mentioned that did we start the service later than we should have?
Yeah.
Customers associate Amazon with speed. We already have the supply chain that allows us to offer these products to our customers fast. So from that perspective, that infrastructure is already built out for us. And then we already have customers as Prime members who actually pay for convenience. And that Prime population is actually increasing by the day. It's not just increasing, the rate of Prime growth in India is also increasing.
So do you think of it as a super prime kind of
Well,
service?
we think of it as an additional benefit to our Prime members.
Without
And-
charging them anything more.
Yeah, I mean, they get free, fast, unlimited delivery, and they see this as a great service. And the interesting thing is that when we launch our micro fulfillment center, we see that Prime customers start shopping to us and switch over to us very quickly. And
Why is that?
Because they are already used to shopping at Amazon. For as I said,
So you just filled a gap in there.
you don't stop shopping at 10,000 items. You also want the 100,000 items in few hours, and you want the million items in same day and next day. So right now they find us as a place where they can get all their needs based on the speed and the urgency that they desire, and all within the same Prime membership. And in addition to that, what we are observing is that they start shopping with us 3 times more frequently than they did before. So all in all, I'm super excited by, number one, the pace at which we are expanding. Number two, the ability for us to launch this service in a unit economics that is sustainable. And number three, the adoption that we are seeing and the downstream impact that we are seeing on how customers are shopping with us more frequently. So I'm very optimistic about our future in this area.
Since you mentioned customers, I want to tell you that Business Today is undertaking a very large, very comprehensive survey on that front, and hopefully we'll be able to share it with everyone, including you. But what, according to you, defines and characterizes today's Indian customer? You touch pretty much hundreds of millions of people, and you have so much data on consumer preferences. How would you describe the Indian consumer of 2026?
I would say the Indian consumer 2026 is just like the consumer of 1995. They love large selection at great value and fast speed.
And they have more money to spend from 1995, one would imagine.
So those are the things that change. But at a base level, if we had this conversation 20 years later and you had the same question, I would say the customer of then is the same as the customer of today in what matters to them. Now, what has happened is our job as the custodian for that customer need is to deliver what their expectations are in a way that delights them. So how you could delight them in 1995 is very different on how you can delight them today, and would be very different how you can delight them in the future as we have the power of AI. I think one thing I would call out about the Indian consumer is that they are more demanding, and they are extremely adaptive to how technology changes, and they adopt it very quickly. I just am surprised each time I'm back in India how much change has happened in just the 3 months that I'm not here. You can't get past any
What
airport.
can you recount for the past
Like,
2 quarters, for example?
You can't get past any of the airports now without DigiYatra, right? It's how fast that whole notion of convenient airport access, entry, and boarding has changed in the country is just incredible. I mean, it kind of is just another UPI revolution happening in front of you. So UPI was like that, Aadhaar was like that, the topic that we're discussing about ultra fast delivery. I reached home on Friday, and I realized that I forgot to get my razor. And I was like, oh my God, and I should probably go to a store and bring one, or I should, even if I order online, I would probably get next day. My dad says, अरे वो Amazon पे order कर लो 10 मिनट में आ जाएगा. And it took me a couple of minutes. Like we launched it. So I said, let me give it a try. So just before I went for a shower, I ordered my razor. I went for a shower. By the time I was back, the razor was on my doorstep.
What was your
And
first?
I don't take a long shower, by the way. So
Good. That's one of the secret recipes for success. But what was your first quick commerce purchase? Can you recall that? When did that happen?
this happened this Friday when I bought a razor for myself.
Okay, the person who runs and oversees the business in 10 countries bought it this Friday, a razor?
Because quick commerce is that particular experience for Amazon is being led by India. And
Very interesting. So, tell us about how are we different than other countries?
as I said, the pace of innovation is incredible. So while customers across the world care about the same things, I feel that India leans into the pace of innovation much harder and adopts it very quickly.
And what about the availability of delivery persons? Is that one of the key differences?
You could argue that, but I mean there are systemic conditions that are conducive to that innovation. The density is higher, the availability of labor is higher. There is an established habit that customers have that they would call their local neighborhood store and order things one at a time instead of stocking up in their pantry, which is different from the US, where you do pantry shopping, you get a lot of goods at the end of the week, and then you deplete them, versus apartments being small in India that you order things in small batches. So there are obviously conditions that are conducive to it. In terms of my experience with the fast delivery, it's the rate of expansion of Amazon has been increasing, and my particular dad's house was only recently served. So and since that morning, like, I saw that Amazon person come to my place like 5 times during the day. And my dad is like ordered basin, and he ordered vegetables, and he ordered. So he feels really excited that he doesn't have to plan anymore, and he just orders when things run out.
Who would have imagined?
And that's the behavior that I still don't have it in my home in Seattle. So I still go on the weekend, going and doing my grocery, or ordering on Amazon and getting it probably in the next few hours, but not in 10 minutes yet.
Great insight there, great example, because my first purchase was on the night of Diwali, perhaps 2 years or 3 years ago, and that was around 12:30 a.m. and the bell rang at 10 a.m. My wife actually placed the order, and I was completely zapped. Things have changed. But you spoke about what India shops for. What about what does India watch these days?
We have a great service in Prime Video on one side, which offers blockbuster content, great storytelling. It's a service that, as I said, Prime is our fastest growing program in India when I compare to other countries, and Prime Video is a key benefit that drives acquisition. We have our content strategy. When I look at it, we have content. 60% of our customers watch content in 4+ languages. We have our many of our fictional storytelling is now in multiple seasons. So, Family Man, most recently season 3, Panchayat, and what we're seeing is customers are watching these subsequent seasons 3 times more than they watched the first season. So the seasons are getting more popular. Family Man was the most watched original for us this year. We are also into theatrical releases, 4 to 6 movies that we are creating in a year. So all in all, there's a lot of storytelling that's happening on Amazon through Prime Video. And then we have MX Player. MX Player is our ad-supported video service, which is a pan-India service that is available on mobile. and more than 100 million monthly active users are watching. Whether it's Rise and Fall or Ashram and other content in MX Player. So a lot of short form watching happening on MX Player. We are experimenting some interesting ideas for snacking content, whereas Prime Video is in more long form, long stretch storytelling that allows us to build characters and to engage customers in the living room. So across both services, in the living room and on the mobile phone, we have like these two services that are engaging and providing blockbuster entertainment.
I just want your sense on what it means for this service, given that Netflix has just made this bid which is being spoken about for Warner Brothers. How do you see that?
Well, I think for us, content is a core part of getting customers into the Prime journey, which is about having them shop more. So we are focused on delivering content to customers so that they join Prime and be entertained. And from that perspective, we are very excited about the strategy that we have. What Prime Video is doing is it's bringing customers in the living room to Prime, and what MX Player is doing is it's helping customers who are starting their journey online, watching content, and bringing them online to start shopping.
Right.
So the two are helping us on the two spectrums of our customers, one on the side of acquiring shoppers and one on the side of acquiring Prime members, and both of them are focused on great storytelling and enabling creators in the country to be able to do that.
Okay. In the time that we have left with us, I just want to sort of switch back once on the point about quick commerce. And we recently had the CEO of Blinkit say that India's quick commerce bubble may be close to bursting. And I think the point that is being made is the relentless fundraising that is happening and kind of reaching its limits, without asking you to comment on his views. But generally, is that something that you, as someone who has so much experience, do you think that is a significant issue?
Well, I cannot speak on his behalf.
Yeah.
I can talk about our strategy.
Yeah.
We are very focused on building a very large and profitable business, and so when we enter and offer any service to our customers, we do ask ourselves, what's the sustainable unit economics of providing that service? And when we look at our 10-minute delivery service, as I said, we already have a built-out supply chain.
Yeah.
We already have a customer base that comes to us for speedy, large selection. So we don't have to invest as much as somebody else might have to create a supply chain or to drive customer acquisition. Our 10-minute service is actually driving further usage of our existing assets and reducing our costs.
So
in some ways,
so would you be the winner in the long
I can only
term?
tell you that I'm very optimistic about our future. I cannot comment on others, but based on what we are seeing in terms of how quickly customers are adopting our service, how it's leading to further downstream impact in terms of greater frequency, and how sustainable the unit economics is for us because of our existing assets, I'm very optimistic about our success.
Final couple of topics, and one of them is about AI. Two parts to it. AI, the India case for it, and our path has obviously been different from the rest of the world, including the United States, where it in some ways it started. And the second bit, really these concerns about AI use case versus the investments that companies are having to put in. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, first of all, AI is probably the largest disruption of our lifetime. All of us. I can't think about, no matter kind of what age we are in, anything that mirrors what's going on in terms of how much AI is going to touch everything that we do, how we work, how we lead our lives, how we serve our customers. And when you have that kind of a disruption, you lean in, all in. And Amazon's strategy is a full stack strategy. We are investing in in the lowest layer of it by building our own chips that allow us to train, allow us to infer, are building our own large language models. We announced our Nova Prime models, our ability for us to have the state of the art models. We are investing in AWS services like Bedrock that make the best in class models, not just our models, any best in class models accessible to developers so that they can build applications. We are building applications on top of that. A key one would be like Kiro, which allows software development to happen in agentic fashion. Connect, which is our customer service. So there are applications that we are building on top of it. And then we are using AI ourselves to not only change how Amazonians do work and be productive, but also how we serve customers. And we talked about a few use cases in this conference, like Seller Assistant, which is a team of experts you can imagine that seller has access to that could allow them to catalog products, create videos, be their advertising agency, be their supply chain consultant, be their forecasting agent, allow them to
So, a small company, a small seller in India would perhaps be one of the earliest adopters.
Absolutely. I mean, this is in much the same way like mobile internet was a leveler. I think AI is just going to be a further level the playing field for the least advantage. Like you and I mean, just think about it. You could use Kiro and wipe code and write a software code and launch a software that yesterday you might be looking for paying somebody to do that for you. So it just makes you productive. And I could do research on a particular story and probably take a stab at writing an editorial, which I may not be able to do before. So it just makes us multi-fluent individuals and a lot more productive and a lot more creative to invent more.
On the investment bit and the fears that there's a bubble forming, too much investment, not enough ROI at the company level.
Well, I think if you kind of look back at any disruptive moments in history, humans probably overestimate them in the short term and underestimate in the long run. And as a company that is very focused on the long term, we obsess with customers, invent on their behalf, and think long term. I think in the long term, this all would be very rational.
One final question, and this is you work with this company, this giant, and from 1999. For our viewers, how is it working with and for someone like Jeff Bezos?
Well, I had the good fortune to be working closely with him as his technical advisor in 2007. Very fortunate and lucky to have that experience. And I would say that, you kind of really start appreciating how you obsess with customers, how you can really, really think big and invent on behalf of customers, and how really you can think long term. The foundations of our leadership principles are based on that ability for us to do that, and I've developed a true appreciation for what true customer obsession, invention, and thinking big and long-term thinking looks like.
Is it true that everyone goes into a meeting and then spends some time only reading the memo before the actual meeting starts?
It's true. Amazon is very peculiar as a company in that there is, for every meeting, there is an owner that brings together a 6-page narrative and a set of FAQs, which essentially ask questions on behalf of the reader and answer the questions. So in a good meeting, you might have everything answered in the doc and you might not just even talk. But that's not what our meetings are. It allows a 6-page narrative, allows you to put the constraints on so that you can get clarity and crispness of thinking. It's very easy to get distracted when you're doing a PowerPoint presentation or just writing as many pages as you want. But when you limit yourself to that, it forces you to think clearly. It forces you to think very precisely. It allows you to tee up debates and topics that require discussion. And it's the most inclusive, in my opinion. It just takes the attention from the owner and puts the attention on the content and the topic of discussion, where somebody is not able to use their presence or how they're talking to a slide to convince the audience. It's actually what's written and what's debated in that room. And we put ourselves in the shoes of the customer look at the doc, read the doc, use the content, and vigorously debate and discuss to get a great outcome for our customers.
Well, Amit, I hope that work style, managerial style, is something wannabe managers, startup founders, or even large company managers adopt. Amit, a pleasure talking with you today here on this episode of Business Today podcast. We could have continued for hours, but it's fantastic that you were able to share with us these insights at a time when you've more than doubled down on the India opportunity through that massive investment. All the very best to you and for your future efforts.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for your well wishes.
With that, it's a wrap on this conversation. We'll come back with another interesting guest on another pod very soon. Until then, goodbye.